So going into our first game, we have Haven. Ghastly Soray is always a really good card to keep. Aragavi is a good card to keep in general. So this is not a bad hand. Mukan is actually a very good card going into Haven, as it counters their high health wards. So Soray lets you have a really good turn 2 into turn 3 curve. Here have another Soray. Unfortunately, we burned the zombie, but our hand's quite clogged in this case. So they evolve Bellring and Leah to clear out our board entirely, and then play exactly 6 damage, which lets us have a really good Aragavi clear. And we decide to push a little more aggressively in this game. Against ward, it's completely fair to push more aggressively. Played out Wilbert. So we'll kill it off with the slash. And then here you can see that Mukan is able to clear this board really well. I didn't really need to play this ghost here. That was... I misthought about the turn there, so I didn't really need to play that. Here, as you can see, another really good card against Wilbert is Medusa. Medusa is just a really good card into this matchup in general, and Aether is what they choose to clear out Medusa with. The thing with Medusa is that a lot of their cards don't have the 7 damage to be able to clear out Medusa. So Medusa actually lives really well here. And then being able to super evolve here lets us chip them down for 3 damage using the super evolve. This leaves the board really cleanly for us to finish off with a Ghost Cerberus combo. 11 damage, one of the Cerberus numbers, remember. Next game here, we have a mirror match against Abyss. This match, I actually made a lot of mistakes, but you can see for yourselves. I am not the proudest of them, but it is what it is. Over here, it is not a bad option to just play out the skeleton on turns like this. Over here, use the Vuela to clear out the board. Gives us 3 damage. Another filled out. And then they proc their cemetery to clear out our board and leaving up the ghost. So here we end up playing the Charon. Only thing that's died this game has actually been a 3 cost, so that was not a great Charon. I think one option is to have traded a skeleton in, and then playing the Charon would have summoned 2 skeletons, because how it works is that Fanfare reanimate 2, reanimate 1. We don't have a 1 or a 2, so it would pick up the next lowest cost, which would have been a zero cost skeleton. So that probably would have been the better play to have a better board, but well, it is what it is. Omino here clears the board. Skeleton. They place Soray and then place another skeleton down. We opt to also create a large enough board, a bigger board. What they've done. This what's it called? This skeleton has gotten quite a bit of value to their face as well. But they end up clearing our board here, which is fine. Here we can banish the Medusa, Odin, and then we can push to try and be a little more aggressive with an evolve on the Odin. Unfortunately, the Ceres does add a lot of healing, but with Olivia, we can still try and push more aggression with a super evolved mummy. And then we have Reaper Death Slash to kill off the buried Ceres. We wouldn't have been able to fully kill this off, so we opted to leave it up. But we could have if we traded with the mummy, but at the time we figured that the pushing damage was more important. So here they're clearing with Cerberus and healing quite a bit, all the way up to 12 again, and we take quite a bit of damage from the zombie. Insetsu clears his board quite well and allows us to heal. Medusa kills Ginsetsu, but we can counter with our own Medusa. Yeah, Mukan to these are quite strong. We can clear the board with Cerberus, using a super evolve to push a little more damage as well. We are still considered quite healthy. Allows us to push a little more damage. They're down to 3. So over here right now, we're looking pretty good. But they also still have enough to clear our board, unfortunately. So over here puts us in quite a difficult position because Mukan does help clear a lot of this board. But we're really trying to look for a lethal. Omino, we can put down the skeleton to give it Bane and extra body on the board. Enter with Ghost to kill that off. And then Ginsetsu. So we don't really have a clean way to kill off Ginsetsu, so one of the only ways, our only options, is to just Odin and trade. Unfortunately, that is how it had to be done. And of course, they had another Ginsetsu. This board becomes really difficult to deal with. Aragavi is just able to do enough damage to kill off the back here. And we decided that we can actually opt to take the damage if they choose to. But they're also able forced to trade here. So that was favorable. This is quite an annoying board to deal with. So it's quite dangerous here, having to deal with these two. If they Cerberus there, might have been quite rough as well. They decided to use the destroy here. I think if they used the ward, we actually would have been like screwed. Because if they used the ward here, it would have been the Gensetsu. Let's go back a little bit. Okay, I guess that's the furthest. It would have been Gensetsu and then 2 more wards here. Our hand does not really offer us to be able to clear out the wards. And well, we could have killed the wards and then killed off Gensetsu and still leave these 2 alive. It would have actually been pretty bad. Oh wait. Maybe they had no option to do that, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. Because here's Cerberus. If they place the... Yeah, sorry. Yeah, they had no option to do the other one. Sorry, I missaw that. Yeah, so we end up having to use Medusa here, and then we can start setting up with the Memorial. Here was really poorly traded. If we just cleared off the Rotting Zombie entirely and leave 1 up, would have been a much better trade. In fact, if we did that, I think Medusa would have been forced to be alive with one health. But we're able to finish off the game here. We had more than enough damage, and we ended up running their hand dry. So here we have a rune matchup. Sore is just a really good card to keep. And then we have a okay opening hand. Not a great one, because it is just quite low cost, and then it goes into a few high cost cards. But Charon is really good here. Again, I'm thinking now that it's probably better to play the skeletons off rip. There's no real point holding on to it too long as well. They decide to use to clear the board there using that card. So they kill off the mummy with their demonic call, just fine. Lets us do a Charon turn. One thing that we could have considered actually was to have maybe evolve the lesser mummy instead of the Charon. But maybe it didn't matter too much because it depends on Anagrea turns, right? So them playing Anagrea here and leaving a Charon at 3 health lets them do a really free trade. It just trades so well here, right? So that's why it might have been something to consider. We pass here because there's really nothing we could have done to clear the board. And then heal back up to 20. So it was actually quite a rough turn. And then we decided that it's probably fine if we took the 11 damage. Do that with care, but that is what we opted into. We're forced to use Medusa to clear the board here, and then they respond with a super evolved Burgent. Now, one benefit is that we are running their super evolves down. One of the best options when playing against Rune. But we're also taking a lot of hits. So here we can Odin to push more damage. So they William to clear our board, and then so here we can respond. We decided to respond with Ginsetsu. So the reason we're deciding to respond with a Ginsetsu here is because we know that we're at 8. Nothing on our board or in our hand really is able to threaten them aside from Ginsetsu. Like Cerberus doesn't kill, Odin doesn't kill, Olivia's do nothing right now. They're going to turn 9 and they have the +1 play point to do maybe do like a Kuon, and then Super Evolve Kuon hit face for 10, because they would do exactly 10 here, and we cannot heal past the lethal. Well, they would do 11, right? So Olivia heals 2, brings us up to 10. Like there we just don't have an option to heal past Kuon lethal this turn. So the only way to remedy that is to just play a really big board and hope they can't deal with it. If we wanted to heal past 12, the other option was to have chosen the Yuzuki mode. Yuzuki mode would have healed us past 12, but again, that mode doesn't really get us anywhere past just clearing the board and getting out of the lethal range. Like this also clears the board and gets us out of lethal range because Kuon cannot punch us in the face. And also on top of that, sets up a board that is potentially enough to threaten lethal because of how strong Yuzuki gets. So another reason why it was safe to super evolve into them is that we're also hedging the bet that they don't have anything to respond to Yuzuki. Their William did only 10 damage, so hopefully their if they have Stormy Blast is not enough to kill off the Yuzuki Ginsetsu. So even if they played William this next turn, if like that William that they had wouldn't have been able to clear the Ginsetsu. So that's what we were betting against, is that they just don't have anything. So here's the Stormy Blast, and we were right, it only did 3 damage. And then they also had the Kuon in hand that they would have just fucking punched us in the face. Having said, Kuon is not able to clear our board at all. And then we have a 12-12 on board, which is lethal with an Odin or with almost anything. We had a lot of options, so decided to go with Odin. It was a bet we were willing to make to win. So this is an updated list for Abysscraft. Midrange still. The main changes are an increase in soul predation, or the inclusion of soul predation, because I felt like the draw was quite lackluster without it being only Olivia. Sometimes you just really run out of gas and cannot get any of your other cards that you'd like. What else? Orthis was cut. Really doesn't feel like you need the shadows, specifically with cards like Charon. Charon's reanimates will be more than enough to compensate for what Orthis was doing in Shadow Generation. Increase the number of Odins. You can increase it to 3 if you have. I just crafted 1 more copy, and it does the job just fine. Lets you finish games off better. Lets you have banish answers for in certain situations. Otherwise, Ginsetsu still the same, but you can increase it to 3. Medusa still the same. Cerberus, really good card, will always be there. Olivia, one of your main draw engines. Heal, just does everything. Able to buff Shadow Crypt, able Ghost, able to buff Mummy. Death Slash increased it to 3 just to round it out the deck. But overall, it shows this pretty much the same, with just some slight adjustments. So we can jump into some games and see how it's piloted. Thank you for watching.